They were, it swept through a pore, you know. But later that day, a calf went down. I'll never forget this. A calf went down in the arena. They could not get it up. We're at a team meeting. We're selling saddles and got display of saddles out. The guy says, go up there and to Tim's trailer and get that jar off the table. Well, he went up there and got that jar, and Andy takes about half of that, throws it down his calf's throat. Well, that calf goes, up, man. I mean, it was up and out of there. So we learned what the hot sauce was good for. You know, I'd eat it, but I would eat it, you know, you got to really be careful with some of that. But Tim thought that was just great. He always teased me about it. I had a car that I would park up there, and it was a terrible looking car. I mean, it was really bad. Rusted out, tar around the windows to keep leaking, and I mean, rusted spots all over it. He finally come to me and said, do not park this on my lot again. Park it up that, remember that street across? You could go across the railroad tracks. He said, you park it up there. I do not want this car here because it makes everything else look bad. But he did end up buying a motor and put it in that race car. You know, it did have a good motor in it, but the rest of it was falling apart. But then was just, I mean, him and I helped run his little western shop out there that he had, and it was just a lot of great moments with this man. And I worked on his farm, and we did things together. Yeah, he was loud, and sometimes he'd get all ticked off, but he didn't stay there long. You know, we got the tractors all hung up one time, and I mean, had all three things in a mud thing, and he come in, and oh God, it was bad. Why did you let him? I'm going, I cannot stop a tractor. I cannot stop this man from a tractor. You know, how am I supposed to do that? But we ended up getting it out, you know, and everything, but everything was cool. I mean, he was just that kind of a person. He would yell and scream and get mad. He had little temper tantrums. So do I. You know, we were a lot alike. Maybe that's why we got along. And if you ever went out with him, he always bought. Never bought nothing. Not ever. He would buy, if you went to a bar or you went out to eat, he bought. That's just the way he was. And I love him. I've always loved him. We never always got along, but we ended up getting along. See what I'm saying? We had differences of opinion. He was bullheaded, I was bullheaded. It was like two bulls, man. I worked for him one time. We had uniforms, and I got so mad at him. And I went home, I brought all my clothes, and I just threw them in the drawer. I said, I don't never want to work for you again. You know, 2 days later, I was working for him. So, you know, so it didn't matter. I didn't have the clothes no more. Yeah. He didn't want that no more. But, you know, we worked a lot of times. We put all the fence around the ranch up there. We built it all, and just he would leave me in charge of things. I house set it, so he had a lot of trust in me. You know, when he would go up to Michigan and go on his hunts to Colorado and stuff like that, I used to house set out there, and I helped build the house. And it was there's just a lots of memories. When I go by his shop up there by the railroad tracks, and I always look in the window to see if Tim he was always leaning there or leaning back against the window. And I'd blow the horn, or I'd stop in and see him every once in a while, and we'd have a small chat, you know. And we always wanted to go riding, and we never did get that done. We was going to go riding that bird's eye. I told him about a lot of trails up there, and we never did get that accomplished. But we had a lot of fun together. I went with him when he went and bought cars, and if you know Tim, he had to have the best things. I do remember one car that he bought from the window. Volkswagen. I had the whole sidewalk out of it. He swore up and down that I wrecked that car on the way. That one car wasn't like that. It wasn't. I said, Tim, the car was like that when you bought it. Maybe you need to walk around it. But you couldn't tell him that at the time. He was not going to have that, you know. And so, but I mean, them were just fun things. He would take that. He would take that loss, and he had enough man about himself to take that loss. He did that, you know. And I loved him for that. I mean, me and him got along great, and I will miss him. I'm sorry that I never got to meet you all. I'm a singer, and I read 2 or 3 different Bibles. My daddy was a preacher. So, yeah, my daddy was a preacher, and so I'm a lay minister, and I do ministry music. Tim do it. I take my guitar when we go out, and we had a great time. And so I love you all, and the Bible says the Spirit goes back to the one who gave it. That's what the Bible says. One day you'll come back to claim. So I truly believe in that. It took many hard trails and many bad roads that I took and I chose on my own to come to a full circle in what I believe in today. So God bless all of you. Hope you have a safe trip back home. And it is some good stories here. And they all been true because I knew it. I knew they were true. You know, I never got up to Michigan to see his home, but he was very proud of it. And I'm very proud to have known this man. And I had a lot of expressions. So God bless you.
One of the things that I recall, you can take as long as you want.
I met him years ago. I moved next door to him, I suppose. I thought he was the biggest BSer I'd ever met. And he came, although I had horses, or my husband did. And he'd come over there and blah, 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 give me this line of bull. Now I thought, oh, you're a car dealer, just give me a line. Well, I had this gray horse. Now probably remembers it. And I'm thinking, he kept asking me, oh, sell me that horse. I can ride it. I like that horse. It's a stupid thoroughbred, but I like it. And I went, well, okay, I don't like it. It hated me. Well, he came over one day, and here he comes. And I said, all right, you can have that horse. I'll sell it to you. Of course, he peeled me out of it. I asked for one price, and I got another one. And that was okay. I thought, when he gets over there, he rode that horse. Do you remember Melvin? When he goes, I swear I didn't think he did anything that horse. You could have told me what he, because he asked me, well, what about the saddle? What size saddle I need? What, I'm going, oh, gee, who am I selling this to, But he got on that thing, had him a new saddle, big rider. Now everything, okay, it's going to be fine, because she never would hope to fail. You remember that little gray? Well, he rode it. She's like Terry said, like Copperhead almost. She just tore loose out there, and he's going straight up in the air. And I'm sitting there going, oh boy, I'm losing a neighbor fast. But I didn't. And from there, then he come over one day and said, can you clean house? He said, are you good for anything? And I said, I can clean. He said, well, Melville's busy right now. He said, I need the house cleaned. You got the company or something coming, doing something. And I said, well, I can do it. Well, we'll see. He said, I'll pay you if you can. If you don't do it, then I can pay you. So I said, that's just fine, So he left that morning, just come over, see the house, just going, do your thing. That night he come back and hollered at me. He said, hey, dipstick. Well, that ain't what he called me. Right. But you know me. And I don't know, from then on, they kind of adopted me. From there to the farm, everything jack of all trades and couldn't do nothing. Heflin, that was Mel's favorite name for me, because I could be out there, me and him would be out, he'd have me out there in cows, and I was telling Michael later, I said, I'll never forget the cows. He used to tell me I'd go out and feed them. You remember, we didn't have feeders, and we had to go out between them and had 5-gallon buckets. Hated them cows. I hated cows anyway. Yes. He had, that's when we all started with them, got them cows out there, and he had big calves out there, and his mama, why was we after that cow? He decided we had to get this calf. Yeah, he said, I have to have that calf out. And, I'm thinking to myself, I was pouring the farm. I'm thinking, Tim, we really shouldn't bother that calf, because that mama's over there, Now, for him, my husband, which, my husband was pretty well looked, y'all knew, Roy. Anyway, he grabbed this cow and them two, they were running. And I don't remember all, but I know he said that he rolled and fell over it and everything. We thought we were going to kill it. They both were on top of this little baby calf, and me and Mel was thinking, well, they killed it. He's always was good to me. We've had a lot of ups and downs. I've probably quit him 14 times, possibly more. Or he scarred me that many, but he barred me one time. Oh, we always had an agreement. He could bar me all day long, but come night, I'd come, he'd holler, it's 60 back to work next morning. The most I remember was me and him and Mel's dad, and I was watching, taking care of him, and we went to, he wanted to go to the bar or something one night, so we'll take him, and I took him. Well, he come in there, and he was out, he was in a bad mood. And I had been hard all day, cleaned the house for him, done all his errands. He had a list this long every morning. Anybody knows him, he had a list. And sometimes you've got to be 6 places and do it all at one time in one place. But anyway, he told me that night, we got into a bad bar. He said, you're fired. I looked over at Pop, and Pop looked over at him. He said, you can't fire her, she don't work for you. And that's the last time, honestly, he really did ever fire me. I quit him a lot of times, but I had to. But he always knew, and he never knew that anything they needed, he knew I was there. They could always call. And I'm going to miss him. He was my best friend in the world. And Melba, and I'll be sure I'm going to be there. I told him I'd cowboy up, and that she's going to cowboy up, and we will. But he was one, and he's got a wonderful, beautiful family. Every one of you has always been very nice to me. Ever since I knew you had dinners and things, and I know you all just know me as a house cleaner when I answer the phone. I was very well proud to know him and to know him. He was a great man, and there'll never be another as far as I'm concerned like him. Or I couldn't hold up with another one anyway. I'm too old now.
Tim was a veteran of the Vietnam conflict, was in the U.S. Navy, assigned to the Marine Corps. So at this time, in memory and in honor of Tim, we'll have a veteran service which will be led by James Winter.
We are assembled here to pay our last tribute of respect to our departed comrade. When the call of our country was heard, Comrade Tim answered. Self was forgotten in the cause of a greater good. As a brave man, he went away with abiding faith in his God, his country, and his flag. The red of our country's flag was made more red still by his heroism. The white, most famously pure by the motives which impelled him, and the starry field of our nation's glorious banner, blue has been glorified by the service they have given for our American idol. Let us pray. Eternal God, we praise you for the great company of all who have finished their course and now rest from their labor. We praise you for those dear to us, especially for Tim Heflin, whom you have graciously received into your presence. console and comfort these bereaved by the hand of death. Bless our country with freedom, peace, and righteousness, and may we all meet at last before thy throne of grace in heaven. Amen. One by one, as the years roll on, we are called upon to fulfill these sad duties of respect for our departed comrades. The present, full of the cares that beset all nations, whether engaged in war or peace, fades as we look back on the day this comrade left his home to defend his country. Inspired by a spirit of devotion and undying love of his native land, he gladly went forth and joined the comrades, both young and old, to preserve our heritage of freedom. We trust the example set by our comrades will prove a glorious beacon to the youth of our country, who may be called to uphold the honor of our flag. As the years roll on, we too shall have finished our fight, shall be laid to rest, and our souls follow a long column to the realm above, as all enfolding death, hour by hour, shall mark his recruits. Let us so live that when the keeper of the eternal records shall have called our name for the last time, that these we leave behind may say of us, as we now say of this comrade, here lies all that is marvel of a true-hearted comrade and a fearless defender of his country and flag.
Timmy, why'd you have to leave me? I'm so pissed off at you. You look good doing your outfit, you know, buddy? Oh, God. Wasn't nothing better. I tell you.